but that statement really stuck out to me because whenever I have these discussions with woke people, they make a lot of conclusions based on someone's color of skin, like conclusions on how they think and conclusions as to their uh, guilt towards certain bad things in society, like oh I mean I'm not white, but like oh I'm white, so I'm an oppressor. You know what I mean? Like mapping someone's skin color to things like that have nothing to do with that individual's character or the history that individual actually went through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you. So you don't. So how do you perceive your racial background? You said I'm not white, so how do you perceive yourself racially, or do you not at all?
Well, I'm Puerto Rican, so yeah, we're like a mixture of I did some mild research on it. Apparently, like my genealogy or whatever you want to call it, it's not more than 500 years old. Like we're a mixture of Spaniard, Black, Native. There might be some Caucasian in there, but the majority of us are literally, a mixture of all those things.
So I think that kind of the biggest issue in the conversations that I've seen us having about the subject of race so far is that, um, and perhaps why you feel like people are trying to mind read you or this or that is because just like everything else, right? You're into crypto, so crypto has a history, right?
Yeah,
Like crypto is relatively new, so
correct.
right, so you can actually figure out how crypto came to be by looking that up and like finding out. Anyone can find out how crypto came into existence and kind of what the general trajectory of the crypto markets was and what the present status is and prognosticate on the future, which is how you make your money. So um, ultimately, it doesn't seem like you've done that for the subject of race. And it's very easy to tell, okay, for anyone who has done it. Just the same as it would be very easy for you to tell whether someone has gone through that process with crypto because it's your work and the way that you make
Correct.
money. So you're probably feeling that way because a lot of people who talk about race have done that work, which is part of the reason why they're saying the things that they're saying and it's not really making sense to you. So I want you to try to approach it from that vantage point if you could, because I feel like that's a vantage point from which you could like gain a better understanding. But if you're not looking at it from that vantage point, it's going to be hard for you to get there. And that's why I wanted to speak to you in person instead of online, because it's very difficult to draw those lines online.
A big part of my issue though, because I love talking to people who have totally opposite viewpoints. I want to know why they think the way they do, why they have the beliefs that they do. And so whenever, but I always look at the how careful was their process for obtaining their opinions, right? Because I'm someone who's always had like a very highly focused mentality towards being scientific about about the world. I was always very like for lack of better words, like almost like an autism level of focus on science since I was a kid. You know what I mean? So like all I ever watched was Nova and anything science related, Bill Nye at the time, and so I grew a sort of obsession with the scientific process and how it gives you this careful scrutiny of the world and this method of coming to conclusions based on facts that we can all measure to be true, right? And so I love that aspect of it, and so I try to apply that mentality to everything. And so whenever I talk to social justice or woke people, that process is completely gone. And I've even seen them flat out say like objective truth doesn't even exist. And I just find that crazy. Not all of them. I call it levels of wokeness. The more deeply woke I see someone, like the more credentialed they are academically, the more extreme their ideas about these sort of things tend to be, and the more divorced from science I find that they are.